Okay, this is John Burroughs again. I'm going to read from my autobiography, 7 Years to Life. However, this is not a chapter. It is what I call a philosophical intermission. I plan on doing these. I don't know if I'll do more than one or not, but I want to give my opinion on certain things. So here we go on philosophical intermission, and the title of it is Drugs. I figured the previous story would be a fitting segue to the topic of this philosophical intermission. I have had widespread experience with drugs, and I have used and abused most drugs for many years of my life. However, other than prescription drugs, which I take as prescribed only if I need to, I no longer smoke and I no longer drink. Having said that, the story you have just read was the beginning of an intense relationship with a variety of drugs. After my first acid trip, I did smoke marijuana daily, but it was not until I was 16 years old did I partake of LSD again. From the time I was 16 until very close to my 20th birthday, I took well in excess of 300 hits of acid, along with almost every other drug that was prevalent during that time period. I snorted a lot of cocaine, but I never smoked crack. The following opinions are ones that I believe to be true, and it would take a lot to convince me otherwise. First of all, it is my opinion that there is no such thing as a gateway drug. I constantly hear pot being referred to as a gateway drug. The truth of the matter is that each individual controls their own gate. It can only be opened or closed by the individual's choice. So in essence, the gateway is you, and whatever or whoever comes knocking, they only gain entrance with your approval. If marijuana gets in, it is because you let it do so. If it leads to other drugs, it is only because you allowed it to lead you there. It is very similar to how you choose your friends. If someone comes along wanting to be your friend, it is your decision, not theirs, as to whether or not a relationship should be started. Nothing can make you do anything you don't want to do. Also, when trouble comes your way because of drugs or alcohol and causes immense emotional and physical distress, only you have the power to make a change. Learn to know yourself intimately so the decisions you make will be the right ones for you, your family, and friends. I am now going to switch gears and will talk about the life-changing benefits in addition to the good that many drugs make happen. Also, as you also well know, there are many drugs that have no social, economical, or health benefits at all. It may surprise you to know that my experience in LSD was a positive one and provided me with the impetus to make changes in the way I viewed humanity and the world in general. I would not recommend it for everyone, but for me, the change was profound. You will find out in several of the following stories. I believe that had it not been for LSD, I would be in jail today or already deceased. My view on marijuana is short and simple. It should be legalized for both medicinal and recreational use. The laws pertaining to prescription medications should also be applied to medicinal marijuana, and the laws pertaining to the use of alcohol should be similar to those that would regulate recreational marijuana. I realize that there is very little clinical data concerning medical marijuana and the relief that it can provide for a large amount of people that suffer from and endure excruciating pain and anxiety. The clinical studies should and have begun as humanly possible because the anecdotal data supporting the benefits of medical marijuana is overwhelming. We all know that cigarettes and alcohol causes more debilitating conditions and deaths that far exceeds the negatives of using marijuana. Rational debate on the subject is practically useless since the people that have the power to make the necessary changes on how we classify marijuana are hypocritical extremists whose double standards prevail over simple logic. Cocaine, speed, crack, heroin, and other drugs like them have no social, medicinal, or spiritual benefits whatsoever. This also seems to pertain to all the designer drugs that are becoming increasingly popular in today's world. I have no simple solutions on how we should deal with the deterioration of our society that these drugs cause, other than to stress that the legalization in any form of these drugs will culminate in the slow death of the American dream. As usual, the human factor is the loose cannon that stands in the way of solving this problem. There is so much money to be made with these drugs that for some people it is impossible to ignore. So on goes the vicious cycle. Those with money and power make sure that the weak and powerless remain addicted, and replacements are found for those people who had the intestinal fortitude and will to rise above addiction and become contributing members of society. Finally, speaking for myself and my family, prescription drugs have been a godsend for us. Like any other drug, however, if abused, prescription drugs will destroy you rather than provide the necessary relief and help that was intended by the prescription. Once again, my meaning should be better defined in some of the upcoming stories. As long as we live in the world, our desire to always be happy and all our problems solved will tempt us in many cases, convince us that abusing drugs will be a simple and easy way through, but expensive solution. You will be swarmed by the predators who have the most to gain if they sense the slightest, especially in your younger years, a vulnerability of which they can take advantage. Remember this, I have yet to meet the person that is happy 100% of the time. If there is any advice I could give, it would be this. Know yourself intimately inside and out. If you need to change habits that could be destructive to you and your loved ones, start now. Do not procrastinate. I say this because it will not be easy and meaningful changes take place over time. Learn to read people's actions rather than listening to their words. By doing this, you will discover that those that want to help you and those that want to take advantage of you. Always take advice from the people whose actions have show that you mean a great deal to them and will always try to help you to the best of their ability. Absolutely never take advice or help from those people whose actions, no matter how sincere they seem, are only looking to benefit themselves and have no regard for the pain it may cause you. Trust me when I tell you that I wish somebody had given me the same advice when I was younger. I've learned so much by experiencing these things, and when it comes to those truly tough challenges, learning by experience can be very painful. You know who loves you and has your best interests at heart, so make it easier on yourself and take the time to listen to them when you know they have been through almost any problem you may encounter. Please understand that the advice I have passed on to you will only work if you have the guts to have open and honest discussions with those that love you most. I read somewhere a short statement that seems to fit just about any situation, but even more so for this topic. Change your thoughts, change your world. Thank you, John Burroughs.